Hello and welcome back to the DrEnderPickles show. Today I have KnightVista on. KnightVista, introduce yourself.
Howdy, yeah. KnightVista is it's an old username. Came up with it a long time ago. I've kind of evolved from KnightVista to Johnny Mo. This is the new mood.
Yeah, so wasn't your original KnightVista account stolen or something?
So I made KnightVista in like 2009 or 2010, and that was pre-email, right? So that was username, password, and so at some point when I took a long hiatus from Minecraft, the whole migration thing was integrated, and I think my password was stolen or hijacked through like a third-party Minecraft client, and so obviously someone that used 2B2T, because they logged on my account and grieved my friends and stuff, and they were like, "What's NightVista's problem? Like he's went haywire," and they eventually come to realize it wasn't me anymore. So, but that account's like long gone now, so I don't care about it.
Dang, that must suck though because like with accounts on 2v2t, like join dates and everything, it's kind of like a
Yeah,
medal of honor. But
they
you still
migrated that
retain it.
account. It's impossible for me to get at this point, but like I
Yeah.
said, that's old news.
So I want to start off with the questions by asking when and where did you find 2b2t? And this should be pretty interesting.
So I was a big face puncher. Like I feel like a lot of 2B2T players back in the beginning were. There was quite a few face punch users because there was a thread about it, and at that point I didn't really care about Minecraft because I felt like it was a game. I wasn't really that into it, but this server really sparked my interest, in reading the thread on Face Punch about this server. Just it captivated me. I was like, man, I want to get on. I want to give this a try. And I remember, I remember playing on it a couple of times in the beginning, and I could never make it past 2000. Like I'd die of starvation or something. Like I was a noob. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no friends on the server to help. And I kind of fluctuated in and out and just kept trying and kept trying, and eventually someone helped me get out of spawn, and they gave me like armor and food and stuff, and kind of set me on my own way. um that was the very beginning, and this is probably somewhere within 2011, maybe early 2012, so around that timeline.
See, that's why I was so excited to get you on because you are from 2011, and that's it's so interesting because it's a very rare breed of people that still play that have come from that era.
I mean, yeah, I don't see very many familiar faces anymore, so it's always cool to see an old username that you knew back then. It's always fun to talk to them, even if you weren't really friends with them. It's cool to see a familiar face, and say hi.
Now, see, that's where it interests me though because you you have known a lot of people from the Face Bunch era. What are some names that maybe people don't really know about that were pretty
Uh,
relevant back then?
I wonder if there's a list somewhere. The thing is Face Punch forums, I don't know if you know or not, they've closed, and all of those old threads and everything is basically it's not in public access anymore. So you can't view any old threads or anything off of Face Punch.
That's so
Um,
sad. There's not like an archive or anything.
there isn't, man. I know it is. I know way before I played, there was a Face Punch base known as 2K2K, and I never knew it. I never visited it because it had been griefed or whatever. But I I was a face puncher, but I wasn't basing and hanging out with other face punchers. Does that make sense? I was still, basically kind of doing my own thing.
Yeah, you weren't
Name
affiliated with any of that.
wise,
Okay.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Clyde, I don't even think Clyde had played at that point. Clyde, I think he came just a little later than that.
Yeah, didn't he come in like 2012? Or,
Yeah, it was about then. Yeah,
yeah.
2012, 2013. Yeah.
So, you're starting off on the server. What was the first base that you kind of set up shop at?
So the first, my first was my own base actually. I used to have a notepad text file on my old desktop of bases and places and like, bases I made or bases of friends or leaked bases. Um, my first base, I called it the Forest Temple base. I kind of based it off of like the Forest Temple from the Ocarina of Time. It was underground. It was pretty deep. Um, it was a pretty newbie base, cobblestone, dirt, mossy cobblestone because I thought that was decorative. I'm really into like decorating bases and making cool looking bases. More more form over function per se. Like I didn't always make the best use of space. I just wanted to make something that was cool. No one based with me. It was my own base. It consisted of a couple of rooms. I used to have a YouTube video of it a long time ago, but I took it off my YouTube because I was like, this is dumb. No one cares about this, so I deleted it. So that's basically gone forever. Shut the fuck up. So that's basically gone. That was my first base, though. Yeah.
See, and like I love looking at videos of older bases,
Yeah.
like Passy Town, for example. It's like they have like a weird, like old aesthetic to it now that like can't be appreciated
Yeah.
until time passes. It's really cool, and then I don't know. Some
I'm
of that
almost
older bases is
entirely
just so
sure it's
special.
been griefed at this point, like 100% sure.
How far out was it?
Not far. I think it was like within 15,000 blocks from the center, from spawn, somewhere within that realm. And like I said, I used to have a text document on my old desktop with all kinds of coordinates to bases, people I knew, people to avoid. Like I had a whole list of usernames. I was like, this guy leaks cords, or this guy's a dick. Just dumb stuff like that. I wish I had it.
Yeah,
It might be on my old hard drive.
that was probably pretty relevant back then. Without like subreddit and like
That
a
was the
bunch of
only
that.
way to remember
Yeah,
things
a
because
bunch
there
of
were so
relevant
many.
information like that because
Yeah,
you have to personally keep tabs of that if there's no source of
yeah,
information out there.
yeah. But yeah, the Forest Temple that was my first base.
So while we're on the topic of bases, I was doing some research, and apparently, I don't know. I was getting mixed results when I was looking. I'm not
Probably.
sure if Fort Avril or Hitlerwood is the last face punch base, but I know you were at both, so I'm interested in hearing about both.
Um, the thing is like I feel like the only official face punch base was probably 2K, and then everything else that came after that was kind of like a hodgepodge of people that may or may not have been from face punch. Um, Fort Avril was a base that Clyde and I had made on a temporary map when at one point Haas pulled the main map for whatever technical reason. So we had like a temporary map for quite a while. We were actually starting to think that the old map was going to be gone. But yeah, Fort Avril was just, it was just like this base that we made actually over a rift in the ground. I forget what you call that biome or that geographical shape.
Oh,
But what we did
ravine.
is ravine, that's it. We covered the ground. We basically made a one block cover over the ravine because Clyde and I were like, if anyone raids us and they dig one brick into the ground, they're going to fall to their death. So that was the whole idea behind that. I made a custom texture pack that replaced some of the like portraits in game with like pictures of Avril Lavigne, but like super pixelated. That was kind of like the gimmick of the base. So I think there's a picture floating around of like a fucking shrine. so
See, that's
so
that's
that was a
funny
thing.
because that's when I heard the name, I was like, that definitely has to be about Avril
Oh
Lavigne,
yeah.
but I don't know how. Like, I don't know how
uh,
they incorporated that, but that's definitely what that is alluding
I
to.
think it's on the pre-June Discord somewhere. It's posted. Hitlerwood was, I don't know who made it. I know Hinder JD was a resident. I was like a guest. I think I made a little house or something. There were a lot of people at that base, and they were like making really complex, crazy structures and stuff. And we had obligatory netherrack, swastikas on fire, and crazy shit like that. It was a pretty base. It was really well developed. You know what? I remember now. I made like a observatory, using nether brick because I fucking love nether brick. I think it's gorgeous. That's what I think I made in Hitlerwood. That's really all I remember about Hitlerwood.
So, while we're on the topic of Hitlerwood, since that is a base that had a heavy Valkyrian presence, what was it like being a part of that environment, a part of that player group?
It was cool. That was kind of the era of Skype, so everyone had Skype and everyone was talking through Skype.
I missed that.
I didn't even use Skype for anything else. It was literally just for 2B2T. So,
yeah.
I think we Skyped stuff. You said Valkyrie, and the only thing that comes to mind about Valkyrie was a separate base that we made. It's called Valkyrie, I believe. That was later on. That's a different story.
Okay, well, I would like to hear about it.
Yeah, Valkyrie. I remember there was like a group of us, and we were like text chatting through Skype. We weren't voice chatting. I think it was just, and we were running, and we're like, let's go to these coordinates and set up shop. So we were all like running on the nether roof, or doing whatever. And I remember we got there, and as soon as we got there, we're like, we're just gonna fucking build shit. So we erected that place up quick. It didn't take long at all. And those guys, like, way ahead of me, they had like tons of stacks of like diamond. They had all kinds of stuff like duped items, and I'm just along for the ride. I'm just fucking KnightVista. I'm just fucking going along with it.
That's exactly how I was. When I was in Shenandoah. It was like all these people had all this stuff and could build all this stuff, and I'm just over here chilling, working on like a little like
the big cats, man.
Yeah,
they were the big cats. But yeah, that's about it. Honestly, that was about the time that what is it called? You use diamond to make it, and it makes a giant like beacon in the sky. It's like right after that came out. That's when we made that base, because that was like one of the hallmarks of the base, is that we had one of those.
It probably just is a beacon. I don't know. I'm not sure.
The most prolific base that I was ever a part of was called the Shroom. A guy named Flame Reaper 666 was a face puncher, and he made a thread talking about, or maybe it was a post under the 2B2T thread, talking about, hey, I'm looking for people to base with, and send me a PM. And this was the summer of 2012, so I was like going into my senior year of high school. So think about, that age, that mindset. He was like, okay, I'll invite you. I'll let you in. Please don't blow up my base. And he sent me the cords, and I remember getting there, and it was pretty desolate. It was a mushroom island, and it was beautiful. I love mushroom islands just because I think they're charming. I love the mushrooms. I love the colors.
They're so unique, too.
Yeah, and, you don't have to deal with aggressive mobs. And so I remember getting to that base, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw everything I got at this base. So we started planting trees. We started building things. We had a building code. I was like, look, no one is allowed to build on this island but me or Flame Reaper, because it was his island. He invited me. So basically all of the residents had their own house that I made, and there was a building code. I'd use wood. They were really small, and they were on stilts, so they were up in the air, so you'd have to take like a ladder or stairs to get up them. I wish I had pictures. They're probably floating around somewhere, but all of the cool characters that I met that would come base with us, like Sleep Rocket, Fire 2 Box, God, I feel like I could give a dissertation about that guy. That guy's a character. Super smart, super smart, but yet so strange. So strange. I don't know if you've ever heard that name before. He's a real dude.
Who's that? Who was that again?
Fire 2 Box.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of him before.
The number 2. He I talked to him on voice chat a couple of times, and when I talked to him, I could tell that he had some kind of like, I don't know if it was some kind of like high functioning autism or maybe a speech impediment.
Oh, God.
He was not dumb by any means. I remember when Flame Reaper invited him to the base, he set up a, what are those dwarf dudes in the nether with the gold armor? And they like throw fire and shit. What is that?
Oh, crap. Wait a minute. Oh, it's the Blazes.
Whatever those, whatever they are. I remember he set up basically like a trap for them, so you could just go get free EXP, and it was like crazy complicated. And like, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you do this, but you're awesome. He would go set up crazy shit like that for us. And he was cool. I liked hanging out with him. He was a brony, brony era, My Little Pony.
God,
he really liked
it was so cringy, but
animated
it was, like,
series.
I don't even know. Like
so
because
he
was
was like,
it makes you appreciate it so much more.
Oh yeah, like I said, there are all kinds of characters. He would talk about, I went and saw this Winnie the Pooh animated movie, and I kind of felt weird because I was the only like lone adult going to see it, and I was like, it's okay, dude. I mean, go do what you want, man. He was weird but cool. Like, I liked having him around. He was one of those cool characters. I have no idea where he is today. No clue.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about people who meet online. You never know. They like go in crazy directions. And I love meeting weird characters.
Yeah.
Like scooby. They're always the best ones.
He's awesome, though. All the people I based with at that base were awesome individuals. They were all cool. Flame Reaper was cool. Basically, at some point, he kind of disappeared, and a lot of the residents was really the only one managing the island and, doing stuff. And eventually, it kind of gets boring. It feels like single player with chat. So you kind of want to be up in the business, so you go back to spawn. That's kind of what happened with me. That base was eventually grieved at some point. This is 2012. I think that base probably lasted 2 years before it got grieved. I remember revisiting the base after a long time and seeing that, obviously someone had found it and was like, I'm gonna blow this bitch up. So, they did. So, rest in peace, the shroom.
Yep, somebody's awesome.
The chords for that base. Yeah, it's in that document. The coordinates to that base are in that document. So if I recover it, then I'll throw it your way.
Toss me the KnightVista files.
Yeah, well, so basically it was just a text file. The only way you could keep tabs and remember everything is, you had to. I would always keep coordinates to bases of my friends or my own bases. I also kept a list of usernames of people that I didn't like or I knew I couldn't trust them because they would just immediately tell everyone your coordinates. So, they were really easy to identify. Or you could give them fake coordinates. And when you know for sure that they were telling other people coordinates, you're like, yep, that was easy. So, I had tabs on everyone. No, I remember the Fox. He was a guy, he would always talk through green text. And it was so annoying. I was like, that's not the fucking purpose of green text. And literally everything he would say would be in green text and just be a troll douchebag. So I remember I was like, don't be friends with this guy, or, don't share coordinates with this guy. So those were the kind of notes that I would put about people that I would meet in. But yeah.
Yeah, I knew a few people with Fox in their username. It seemed pretty common back then for some reason, like pseudo Fox and Sleepy Little Fox and the Fox. It's like a weird naming pattern. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you.
But
You've been through quite a few spawn incursions. You know, you've been here since 2011, so you've kind of seen it all. Uh, how many do you think you've personally
the spawn
experienced?
is like how many like versions of Spawn I've seen?
I mean, I guess you could say that. Like, just
Or
how many different incursions, like maybe you've been a part of, or which ones have kind of been the most exciting for
yeah.
you?
I mean, like a face puncher once said, the spawn of 2B2T is like a fine wine, and it just gets finer with time. I always tried to spend the least amount of time possible at spawn, because even with like a third party client with like auto attack and different cheats, basically, I didn't stand a chance. The guys that made their own clients ruled. Like Pop Bob, like probably the most prolific player of all time, at least in my, our era from back then. Who Clyde is, really good friends with. That guy, like, you didn't stand a chance. You weren't going to go up and like fight him, or you're going to basically get demolished, obliterated. So, there were definitely bigger fish on that server than you. So I always tried to stay away from like combat and stuff.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure.
Spawn incarnations, it changed so constantly. I remember at one point the spawn was like obsidian, and everyone spawned at the very center of the map. And basically the players that were established would just, spawn camp everyone that spawned, or make lightning strike spawn and all kinds of crazy shit. And then eventually he enacted a way for players to spawn in a radius around there, so not everyone was getting spawn camp anymore. But yeah.
So, branching off of that, you said spawns changed a lot over your time on the server. What can you say about maybe some server events that took place at spawn, like incursions and different things like that?
I remember April Fool's Day one year, you couldn't play on the server. It would just spawn you like in a room, or maybe at spawn, and you just get and over and over again. It's like Housemaster's like fun. So he would do funny shit like that, or we would be on like a joke map for a day. Those are really the only events that I can think of. Or he'd spawn like ghasts everywhere, and no one's like stood a chance. So that's really all I can think about.
So, like throughout your time on 2B, I mean, you've been on the server for a really long time. Who were some of your closest allies, and maybe some of your worst enemies, if you want to name some?
Clyde, first and foremost, is one of my closest friends, online. Period. We were always close. At a later point, Hinder JD, which I don't know if you know who he is. He was a big wig, and so he was cool. He invited me to some of his bases, and we let me see. Flame Reaper 666, the guy that invited me to the shroom, he was super cool. We were close. Sleep Rocket, he was like an Austrian guy that was like learning English, and he was super cool. you could base with him and talk to him. Fire two box, like I talked about earlier, the guy who make the crazy contraptions, super efficient, super cool, easy way to get EXP. He was awesome. Sato, I remember, bouncing around a couple of Sato's bases. He was really knowledgeable about the game, and he always had connections. I feel like he knows a lot of people. I liked him, and I already know I'm forgetting names. Just I feel like I haven't traversed this part of my brain or my memory in a long time, so I know I'm forgetting names. I never really knew Tristan in game, but he was friends with Clyde, so he was a cool dude. Those are really the only names I can think about right now.
I mean, that's a pretty good cast of characters right there.
It is. It's a cast.
Yeah, definitely a lot of different folks. What would you say, in your opinion, have been some of your biggest accomplishments on the server? Like biggest things that you've done?
One of my biggest accomplishments was working on the shroom. It was the Mushroom Island base. It was really fun for me. It was fun to make all the houses. It was fun to farm and to raise all the mushrooms. And I remember we basically had Fire 2 Box made some kind of crazy like McDonald's contraption, he called it. And so basically, if you ever wanted just like cooked beef, you would like flip a switch and it would like burn a cow and give you like cooked steak. It was like some crazy shit like that. So that was awesome. I feel like another accomplishment of mine was friends that I made on that server, because why else were we playing 2B2T if it wasn't? You might as well play single player if you wanted that experience. But the experience that 2B2T had to offer was the people that you would meet, and not everyone was your friend. It was fun to be kind of scared or not know what was coming, because there was always a bigger fish out there that could come and just wreck your shit. Other accomplishments, I'd say that's about it. It was fun, I only get on every blue moon now. I get on one of Clyde's alts, also called Johnny Mo, but I don't own it. That's about it in that regard.
It's just crazy how much the server, like, it used to be like this Wild West, and now it's just
I gotta wait to log in now. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The lag is terrible.
It's not even working the server.
Well, these shitbags would make giant redstone contraptions that would just demolish TPS. And that's probably still taking place today. I don't know.
It definitely is, and on a much wider scale considering the player count.
Yeah.
And the fact that like redstone has advanced so much that machines are super elaborate now.
I was never into redstone to begin with, because I guess like really complicated logic setups were never a big interest of mine. And now that whole system in Minecraft has evolved into what it is now, it's definitely beyond my comprehension.
Oh, for sure. Like some of the stuff that people make, like,
yeah,
it's insane. So I want to know, in your opinion, having seen 2B2T for what it was and what it is now, how do you think players will they ever be able to compare to players that once were, and in what ways can they, in what ways are they not?
Well, the players that are joining and playing that server now are making their own memories and having their own experiences, and their experience is never going to be like ours. But in a way, the experience that they're having right now is one that we'll never have, because we're never going to play 2B2T in 2020 for the first time and be like, holy shit, this is crazy. You know, we did this, 8 years ago. So, it's cool. And personally, I wish the server didn't have the technical issues has, and I wish it didn't have such a population problem. But I do like seeing people play, because look, like 8 years ago, 6 years ago, there would be like 30 or 40 people on, maybe at the most. And now it's what, over 100 or 200 or something bonkers like that. Like, I like seeing that, because that's what's keeping that server alive, is the people that come and visit. And there's tons of spam. And you know what? There was tons of spam back in the day. So that hasn't changed at all. That's cool. I like that people play it. The only reason that I ever played Minecraft was to play 2B2T. I didn't care about anything else. Maybe, single player creative every once in a while, but the only reason I played Minecraft was to play 2B2T. That was it.
It really is just like the truest roots of what Minecraft is.
Yes.
It's like the rawest experience you can get.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to agree with what you were saying about the player count. That it really, I remember back then, watching Dr. Zombie's videos and watching all this stuff about 2B2T. I mean, there wasn't really that much, and
yeah,
it was exciting to see videos getting made and for more people to be coming in, because it's like, oh crap, this thing that I really like is suddenly getting attention from somebody.
But yeah, what YouTubers did it.
It's insane.
The YouTubers are what caused 2B2T to blow up this, second half of the decade. Is that 2B2T blow up all of a sudden like it did? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure it was the Camping Rusher, but I'm pretty sure it was a lot of other factors leading up to that. All it really took was one big YouTuber to make a video, and then it was just an upward spiral from there. But I just remember how interesting it was that I mean, I don't know if I'm the only person that thought like this, but way back it was really exciting to see people acknowledge the server, and now that people really acknowledge it, it's just it's like, oh crap, maybe I didn't want this the entire time.
Yeah. Maybe a year ago or so, I have Housemaster added on Steam, and he messaged me. He was like, people are wondering about you. And I was like, why? Like, I'm a nobody. I had friends. They had made a post on the 2B2T Reddit. It was Sato. And he was asking about me. Let me see if I can pull up that thread. That's when I kind of had a wake-up call, and I was like, okay, well, apparently someone's looking for me. Which it made me feel special. Like I made an impression enough that someone would be like, hey, what happened to this guy? Someone stole his account and blew everything up. It's not him. They figured that out. Where is it?
See, yeah, that's the interesting thing that I like too, is that this is a place where you can make a name.
Here it is. KnightVista account is not owned by him anymore, by Sato. This was 3 years ago. Sorry, not last year. So I actually made a Reddit account so I could post, and I think it's at the top. And I had, announced to everyone. I even had a link to my Face Punch page back before, Face Punch forums, closed. So that link won't take you anywhere. But that made me special when I saw that. I was like, wow, someone actually cares about me. And that whole giant Minecraft server, someone remembered my name and was wondering about me. So that made me feel really good.
Exactly. That's what I like so much about this server, is that unlike a lot of other servers in Minecraft, it's just people can like make a lasting impression,
Yeah,
and it sticks because there's no world resets. Um, there's no saying that didn't happen because there's proof everywhere.
how many terabytes is the map now? Do you know?
I mean, huge. I mean, maybe like 3 terabytes. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I don't quote me on that, but I feel
The
like
map,
that's what
the
it
map
is.
alone, not even the operating system that the server is running, but the fucking map alone.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
pure insanity, and I don't know. It's insane that people today still look at the past of a block game, of a server on a block game. Like
Absolutely. It's a gem.
it really is.
And I'm so glad that you're doing your own archiving in a means, in a way, and talking to people. That's really cool.
I think it's a really interesting thing too because someone needs to be a digital witness. You know, someone needs
Yeah.
to recount these things before these people either don't care, become inactive, or get hit by a car or something. And there's no other way you can remember besides Reddit posts or like,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Face Punch. I mean, you can't go back and look at that.
Rip
It's not
face punch,
archived.
man.
Like all
Of
that stuff's
all
gone.
things.
Like there has to be something, and the best way to do
Yeah.
that is to go straight to the horse. You know,
Yes, sir.
right to the root of the information.
Sir.
Well, this has been a very, very nice interview. If you have any closing remarks before,
Uh, well, whoever sticks around and listens to this and maybe finds any interest in it, I hope you have a good time playing 2B2T like I did, and you know, like like a lot of people, I hope you're having fun. I hope you're getting something out. Um, the people I met and the things that I did and the music I was listening to when I was playing 2B2T, it's all special. And it was an important part of my adolescence, becoming an adult. So, you know, have fun.
it's the passing of the torch. This was a very wholesome interview.
Yes, sir.
Probably the most wholesome interview I've ever had.
Really?
The 2B2T.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad we had this.
Yes, yes. I feel like this is a very special interview.
Hey, man, there's others out there. They're out there. They want to talk. They got things to say. So you're gonna have to go dig them up like you dug me.
Yeah, I mean they're there, but it's gonna take a little minute.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Well, hey, thanks for having me.
heck yeah, anytime.